Hey, it's Becca.
It's Red.
And we're from Abernathy's.
Yay!
But guess what? The store's closed.
Yep, so
Get
sorry about
out of
it.
here. But you can stick around and listen to our podcast.
We started creating a podcast.
So we can talk about you guys.
And us.
Mostly us. We needed more venues to talk about ourselves.
Hi, do you want to know everything about me? Because I'll never actually tell you this in person.
No, never. What about little you? What about little Nicole?
I want to know more about little Becca.
No, you don't.
I know a little bit about little Becca, and it all checks out.
That adds up.
I'm like, you're a weird kid. I like your, is it equestrian photos the best?
Yes. Yeah. Those, I've actually seen quite a few. My mom actually, so she gave me a box. I always give Matt crap about the fact that if you go over to Matt's mom's house right now, there is a Blink-182 poster still hanging up in his room. And I was like, my parents would have never left my room the way it was. Like,
My mom's like, this is my sewing room now.
this is where I pretend you don't exist anymore.
Matt's mom, it's like Matt just one day disappeared into thin air.
Yeah. Or us, and holding out hope that maybe he might still come back.
And he'll still be 14.
That checks out. But, you know, and I kind of gave my parent, was like, oh, that's so cool that your mom has done that for you. And he has a lot of the toys he grew up with, which are now our son Joe's toys, and he's loved them. And I was like, I don't have any of that. And my mom actually brought me a box of stuff from when I was a kid.
That's cool.
And it had Breyer horses in it, which were, they were like statues of horses. They were halfway between like statues and toys. They were made out of like a plastic, like a hard plastic, more like.
My Barbie horse was like that.
Okay. So like a Barbie horse.
Okay.
And they had little tiny real leather saddles.
I did not have that.
I would cut little horse blankets out for them. And then also in this box were horse ribbons from horse shows and stuff like that. And then I did not have a American Girl doll, but I had the cheap rip-off version, which was the Magic Attic doll.
You.
Yeah, and my mom made it clothes to match her, the doll, and me.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Magic Attic doll I don't like though. I'm like,
It was from the
that means
Anne
you
Frank collection.
100%. Oh, Jesus Christ. It just like, no, either that doll's been through some shit.
It has secrets.
Yeah, and it definitely talks about you when you're not around.
I remember it being a thing. All the girls in our grade, we would pass around this phone number, and it was the toll-free phone number that you could call to request a free catalog for the Magic Attic doll or the American Girl doll. And I just got excited that it was free.
Woo!
And I was making a 1-800 number by myself
Let me do
at
it.
10 years old.
Yeah. I had an American Girl doll. My mom got it
Humble
for me.
brag.
It's no big deal.
What kind of accessorized did you have for
I
it?
don't know if I had a lot of those things.
That's where the real money is.
Yeah, well, and like taking them to their own like hair salon in Chicago or whatever. I think we got to go to the American Girl doll store, but I think it all started with my sister was in Girl Scouts.
Okay.
I think I was like half in Girl Scouts. I don't really remember a lot of Girl Scout stuff. I remember we went on a trip to ride horses.
We went on a trip to a horse.
And we had to ride horses, and I have such bad allergies that I couldn't see because my eyes
puffy-eyed
fell out.
Nicole.
And I just had to kind of lay on the horse.
It made you still get
We
on
were like in the middle of a ride.
Oh,
And I
then
was
your
like,
eyes
I
swelled shut.
can't see. Yeah.
I'm blind.
I'm blind. And my horse had like bad knees. And so it was just a really bad experience. I was like, fuck Girl Scouts.
I'm outie.
But my sister was in Girl Scouts, and I think they had made this trip to Chicago to get some sort of badge or whatever, and they took all the girls to the American Girl store. So I was kind of on that age where it was like, I don't really want this.
Yeah.
But
Almost
my sister's
a little bit
getting
too
it.
old.
Yeah. But I got one, and I don't. What is her name? She's the red-haired one.
Oh, I don't know their names, but did you make clothes for her at all?
No, because I played with Barbies. And
you make clothes for the
I
Barbies?
made clothes for Barbies, and I would do their hair. But more importantly, I, years on end, asked my dad for a dollhouse. I was like, I want a dollhouse so bad. I want a dollhouse so bad. He gave me a shelving unit he got out of a trash. So,
Here we
but
go.
my mom got me carpet catalog books.
Oh,
And-
tiny little Barbie rugs.
Pretty much.
And then when the pizza comes, the tiny little white table in the middle.
yeah.
Barbie end table.
Yeah, Barbie and table, because they're too small for anything else.
Bedside
And then my
table.
mom got me like the remnant books that had wallpaper in it. So I just used this giant shelf, which we had up until this past year.
Oh.
And I just made all my Barbies. And my mom, she was always good about, we had tons of Barbies and like all the shoes and clothes. There's like a million Barbie cars that I had that I don't.
Barbie cars.
Full on cars. My kid plays with them now because his G.I. Joe big guys can fit inside.
Oh.
So
Did
it's
you ever
worked
see
out.
I think it was maybe before our time, so I never remember having one or anybody who did, but I see them at thrift stores every once in a while, the Barbie planes.
I had a Barbie plane.
You had the Barbie plane? See, one of my best friends growing up, Ashley Williams.
She said happy birthday to me today.
Oh,
She's nice.
She's so sweet. All of her Barbies were actually her mom's Barbies, so they were a
Oh,
little
that's
bit more
cool.
from the 70s. She had a pregnant Barbie.
I had one.
She was the only person who had a black Barbie.
I did not have one of those.
Very open. Yes.
That would be cool though. My grandma had vintage Barbies at her house that I played with.
Oh.
And she actually had a Barbie mansion. I was also the first grandchild on at period.
Oh, okay.
So
The eldest.
yeah, so I got like all like the cool Barbie stuff, and then when my sister, and then it was like all girls for a little bit, so Barbies were just super prevalent. But yeah, my mom still has all my old Barbie stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cute.
Did you ever have any Spice Girl Barbies?
I had the Spice Girl. I had Scary Spice. I identified most with.
I had Ginger, which Avi.
Avi. I remember making some clothes. I actually, how I got into sewing was, and I had at that point in my life been taught to sew by my mom on the machine, and then been taught to hand sew by my great grandmother with quilting. But my biggest like proponent for me to sit down and sew was to sew stuff for my Beanie Babies. I was all about that. I actually just got rid of it last year, a sewing pattern for Beanie Baby clothes.
It's a weird thing.
Beanie
to
Babies
have.
shouldn't have clothes,
I'm
by
like,
the way.
do they have a figure? Like, do they have?
Beanie Baby sleeping bag.
Okay.
So, and then I would stuff the little pillow and then make a bag, and then I would make a little tote, and it was like just like an off-white canvas material, and I would paint the TY logo on it.
Forgery.
Copyright. But that was like I wanted to go sew. I wanted to learn how to sew so I could do those.
My mom sewed all of our, for a really long time, all of our Halloween costumes.
Well, that's awesome.
So, kind of learned sewing from her, but then I took sewing classes in high school too, and junior high.
Like through home ec?
Kind of, but it was all sewing.
Oh, really? We had a sewing section in our home ec class. That was it. I always felt pretty cool because in junior high and home ec, we had the sewing section, and we had to sew an apron, I think. And I finished so early that I went around and helped the teacher help them with their sewing machine.
I'm good at it. I sewed pajama pants.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you still have those?
No.
Oh.
It had a goose on them. I embroidered a goose.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
I mean, it was an embroidery machine, so it wasn't, like, you typed it in and it did it for you, but
Goose.
I don't know why I did that.
Oh. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. Did you get to pick out your fabric? Did you get to go fabric shopping?
I went fabric shopping.
Possibly the best part of sewing.
Gets very overwhelming because I can't make up my mind about a lot of stuff, so especially
Yeah.
if it's like something for me, like a costume.
I want to be at the fabric store alone for hours. Favorite part of the sewing store? The pattern books. Like,
Oh yeah.
that was one thing I do remember as a kid, because they even had like the pattern books. They would have them at Walmart.
Yeah.
And especially around Halloween, you could sit down and look through these giant books that are like 3 inches thick of all
That
the
is
Halloween costumes.
definitely how I would choose sometimes my Halloween outfit.
Yeah.
Be like,
Did you want to dress up as stuff when you were a kid?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we played dress up hardcore at my grandma's house.
Hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, my grandma, actually, remember when we opened the store?
Oh, yeah.
And she gave us all that stuff?
That was like before, you know what? So I remember this so vividly. You had a couple bags of stuff from your grandma, and we looked through it in your car after we met with Ron Franz to look at a space of his.
Oh, that tiny place.
Before we looked at our 315 space.
Comes back around.
Never goes away.
No. That's funny. Yeah, a lot of that stuff was stuff I played dress up in.
Oh, there was some killer stuff.
Yeah.
That dragon dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandma, she was a good looking lady.
I-
She still is. She's beautiful, but she's fancy.
I think that we somewhere have a picture of Erica Hildebrand in that dress.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere.
I remember, I know I took a few pieces, but by now I couldn't even tell you where they were, but I don't know. There was a few, one dress I specifically remember, it was like this navy blue kind of peasant-y thing. It had like that rouging on top across the bust, and then it kind of like an umpire waist. It was long, so super like 70s. And then each layer of this dress was either polka dots or stripes or patches.
Oh.
Like, just super 70s. But it was all
super extra.
monochromatic, navy and white.
Oh, okay.
And I used to wear her wooden, and now I know why I can't stop buying platform shoes. Because that's what I dress up in all the time.
Learning so much about
Wow.
ourselves.
Yeah, she had a pair of wooden ones that had a hole through the. Oh, it was so cool.
Oh, they're out there somewhere too.
Yeah, they're
That's
really
cool.
little though.
So she would like let you go through her old clothes and play.
Yeah, she
That's
just had a
awesome.
huge toy bin. And she put the clothes in there for us.
We used to have a old steamer trunk, much like the one we had one at the shop that Matt brought in, where it opens in half and then has all drawers on one half and has wooden hangers on the other side. And we had a steamer trunk like that, full of old clothes. I don't think they were mine; they might have been our neighbors. But there were some of my mom's old clothes in there that we would play with, mostly like big peasanty like pajama dresses. They must have been not very attractive, but do you remember playing with those?
That's funny.
So we are going through some old videos. I got really into scrapbooking as a teenager, but also like recording, taking all of our old VHS tapes, and making them into movies and stuff. And there was a videotape of me, I think it was like my birthday in second grade or third grade, and at a slumber party, and I organized a fashion show
Okay.
for the birthday party.
100%. Yeah.
And my mom
funny.
had hung streamers in this doorway, so we would come through the streamers and then walk out into the
That's
living room.
amazing.
There was probably like 4 of us.
That's
But
the best.
Yeah, I'll have to find that video.
You never change. I'm sure, like, I had super similar.
Yeah?
I used to put on shows, but I would make my sister and my cousins be the dancers, and I would just sell the tickets.
Give me the money.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's all. I did that 7 Sins,
I just-
burlesque.
Imagine you're like an old time, like,
I was smoking a cigar the entire time.
this is showbiz.
Showbiz,
We're putting on a
honey.
show.
Get to work. Yeah. And I would go around and sell tickets, and then everyone would.
In advance?
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, it was Christmas. It was
Oh.
every Christmas, every year for like a lot of my life. And until my sister and cousins were like, we're not going to do this anymore. But yeah.
Did you ever have a business as a kid? Like a little business? Like lemonade stand, or you sell anything, you peddle anything?
I mean, I lived in like rural LeClaire. So no.
Nothing on the playground? You were
But I did try.
ain't that where the trench coat full of bee buddies?
Oh. No, I don't think I tried to sell anything when I was. I don't think so.
I got reprimanded for selling so much stuff on the playground.
Years. She literally will sell you anything.
You remember the bead buddies?
Yeah.
You'd make them out of pony beads, and it was like a weaving kind of process. Most popular was the lizard.
Of course, I've
Yes.
done those.
That's where you start.
Yeah.
You you progress up to the alien head.
I've done an alien head. Yeah. Okay.
But we got, my friend Lacey and I got really good at them. Efficient.
Yeah.
So we were slanging them.
So we have a customer, Sherry. She's a daughter, Ellen, who's a little badass.
The awesomest.
Yeah, and the ring came from the store, right?
Yes. She bought it. I think Sherry bought it for Ellen at the store.
Yeah. And then she sold it at school.
For $50.
I was going to say for an absurd amount of money. I don't know why those children had that kind of cash.
What 10-year-old has $50 cash on?
I don't have fucking $50 cash. That's crazy.
All
to me.
three of us combined couldn't come up
Now
with $50
you know what?
cash.
Now I have to fact check because
It was 50. I think it might have been a thing where Ellen told the kid how much it was, and he came like the next day with it.
Where did he get it? He stole it.
So, Ellen's doing good.
Ellen's doing great. She's profiting big time because I'm sure that ring was like $10.
$10 at the most.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. We wrote and published our own newspaper and sold it. Got in trouble for
That's
that.
my favorite story though, and it's not.
Laughing at me having a panic attack.
You were back.
Panic attack. It's so funny.
That. Yep. Pulled her hair out.
What else did we make and sell? My mom has always been really into drawing, so she would make illustrations of horses, and we were big in like 4-H and horse shows. So she would take this illustration and have it copied onto blank note cards, and I would bundle them up into little packages and sell them at horse shows. I would hot glue together little Western brooches and sell them. I had a straight up cigarette girl box.
That's super cute.
Yeah.
I was not that cute. I was outside a lot.
Yeah?
I mostly ran around the neighborhood with a holy Bible, casting spells from it.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah. So
There aren't spells in the Bible,
nope,
Nicole.
there's not. But yeah,
That's
never
how it
read the Bible.
translated for you, though.
Yeah, it was a witch's book. I was a witch.
okay.
I was a prairie witch because
Ooh.
we had a creek in the back of our yard, so I just like smashed berries on rocks and
This is my potion.
yeah, it was potions. Yep.
They call that Dungeons and Dragons, Nicole.
Because this was real life. Matt.
They were real potions, okay?
Yeah. I was physically doing something, not just talking about it. Yeah, I wish I would have sold more stuff, but I guess
It's unescapable now.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I just always am selling something, right?
That's pretty cool. So were you like, what were you using these potions for? In these situations, were there other people around or?
Yeah. No, it was like a whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
We all just did it, especially me and my friend Jenny. It would be her and I, and we would just like run around. My mom and dad's neighborhood, it was fairly small, but there was like a big creek that ran through like everywhere. So we would catch those like weird like crawdads that were in the creek,
Okay.
and then we would go creek stomping around, and we could go all the way down to my other friend's house if you took just the creek. So we would just
Get there via creek.
yeah. So you would just walk the creek and play witches or pretend like you live in the forest. I don't know. That's
Oh.
what we did constantly.
Huh. I remember we did a little bit of that at my friend Lacey's house. She lived on the Wapsie, and we used to hang out in the Wapsie a lot. And she was always really into witchy stuff, and
Yeah.
we would catch frogs and put them in containers and
Yeah.
let them die.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, I remember the first time Lacey and I started getting into like kind of spooky stuff. We played with an Ouija board. That was like our favorite thing. And we would like this is gonna sound blasphemous. We took an Ouija board and cut it in half and put holes down the side and put pages in between and bound it into a book and like made it like a spell book.
Ooh.
And then we cut obituaries out of the newspaper and put them in there.
Fuck it.
I remember my mom finding out and being like, "What is going on?" I remember. I got no answers for this.
I just did it. Somebody told me to do it. Don't know who.
But I think there was maybe that allure of like, I don't know, just things that are dark.
Well, I watched Now and Then.
Oh, that is like the greatest girl movie ever.
That was like before The Craft. That
Yeah.
I was younger. I couldn't. The Craft's legit kind of scary.
Yeah, I would agree.
And with the hair falling out, like, ooh, all that. But Now and Then, I was like, I'm pretty much from the 60s.
Yeah.
50s, 60s. I ride my bike everywhere.
Yeah, that movie was the
I
realist.
am Christina Ricci.
Oh, she's so good.
Yeah. So, and I remember we would play down at this weird little church and have like weird like things going on in there all the time. And then, so there was this part by the creek where we would like dig and we would always find like old glass.
Like glass bottles?
Glass bottles. Sometimes we'd find like porcelain doll pieces. And if you found that was like super crazy. And then we'd be like, this is an Indian sacrilegious ground or something stupid like that.
Indian burial ground.
Yeah, and then we put all the glass in a giant 5-gallon bucket full of water and put it in my garage.
And your parents were like, what the actual fuck?
Then we found a bunch of turkey bones that were like washed down in the creek. We had bagged them all up and put them near that, and my dad was like, who the fuck put all this shit in here?
We're cursed!
Yeah, it was like, what are you doing with all the glass? And weird watered down chicken bones. Turkey bones. I was like, I don't know. Jenny did it.
This looks bad. I know.
Okay, let me explain.
We were watching now and then.
Yeah, we did that.
That part never changes.
No, we still collect weird baby doll parts and chicken bones.
Yeah, we got a little bit of all those. So if you liked this, you can come hang out with us.
You can see us in real life.
in person.
In person. In the flesh.
In color.
Sure.
At the shop.
Yeah, 432 West 3rd Street in Davenport, Iowa.
Or you can visit us on our website.
Yep, and that's www.shopabernathy's.com. Bye!
Until then, bye!